Yeah, so the doctor, he gives me this anesthetic, and I hear his voice. He says, well, this is going to be an experiment for all of us. Yesterday, I took a friend for minor surgery. Don't worry, I didn't do the surgery. We got laughing as I told him some stuff that you don't want to hear when you're entering surgery. The doctor will be in late. He's still in court. Ah! Have you signed all the waivers? Nurse, hand me that thingy. The doc will be with you shortly. He's watching a how-to YouTube video. No! Ed sat beside me at a banquet, and just before I got up to speak, told me his story. At the age of 49, he was told he had colon cancer. It's very advanced, said the doc. We'll do all we can, but you need to get your affairs in order. Shock turned to disbelief. As a highly successful executive, Ed was used to being in charge. His staff jumped when he said so. Suddenly, everything important was completely out of his hands. His millions couldn't another minute buy. And how would he tell his wife? They seldom spoke. But when he finally broke the news to her, she wept. After a sleepless night, Ed called the office. For the first time in 17 years, he wouldn't be in. He should have retired years ago, but it kept his mind off the broken relationships. And how would he tell his 3 kids? They lived nearby, but were virtual strangers. And the grandkids? Would they remember him? On their birthdays, his secretary mailed them cards and money and then Christmas gifts of her choosing. But he seldom saw them. He'd never been able to get their names straight anyway. Should I call a minister, he wondered? What do I do? He hadn't been to church since his wedding day. And who would he call anyway? What would he say? Was he a Baptist or a Buddhist? He hadn't a clue. His children, though, were devastated when they heard the news. For the first time, they saw their dad cry and heard words he'd never spoken. I love you. An old friend, now a minister, called. Could they go out for breakfast? And the next day, after steak and eggs, Ed and his wife booked tickets to Mexico. It was Ed's last Christmas. It would be his best. He went hang gliding. He watched the grandkids frolic in the surf. They buried him up to his neck in sand and pulled him out, thankfully. I was in horrible pain from the tests they did, Ed told me, but those were the 2 best weeks of my life. The Bible came alive to me like never before. He hung on to Isaiah 41, "For I hold you by your right hand, I, the Lord your God, and I say to you, don't be afraid, I am here to help you." Ed said, I found that help and hope even in this. Let me ask you, how would your life change if you received Ed's diagnosis? Would you make something right? Health is a gift to be sure, but redemption is a gift we dare not miss opening. Back home, Ed went to see the doctor. He was ushered into the office quickly. The doctor's face was snowball white. Ed, I don't know how to tell you this, but we got the files mixed up. You're healthy as a horse. Ed sat dead still and wide-eyed. Then he started to laugh. You're expecting a lawsuit, aren't you, doctor? Yes, stammered the doc. Well, doctor, until your diagnosis, I was a workaholic, said Ed. The only thing I valued was money. Because of you, I made things right with God. I reconciled with my wife. My kids have forgiven me, and I know my grandchildren's names now. We're going to church again, together. I've never been more alive in my entire life. Well, doctors don't experience a lot of hugs from patients, but this patient couldn't help himself. The worst news I ever received came from you, he said. It turned out to be the best thing I could have heard. Thank you, said Ed. I didn't start living until I found out I was dying. Hey, thanks for watching today. I preach these things because I need to hear them, and I'd love to read your comments below. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. Subscribe or the duck gets it.